Local police in China have attributed it to a criminal judgment because it is a politically sensitive year there. More than 1,000 Chinese people gathered at a bank on July 12 in the Chinese city of Zhengzhou for the same reason. Their life savings had mysteriously vanished 3 months earlier. Their hard-earned money had been deposited into their bank accounts, and it had vanished with no explanation from their bank. These were not the bank accounts of wealthy Chinese people, by the way. Instead, they were used to pay for food, rent, medicine, and their online bills. 6 Chinese banks have frozen the accounts of their customers totaling almost $6 billion, leaving the protesters without any options and in a difficult situation. It was a bank run when the protesters forced their way onto the bank stairs and demanded their money back from the bank employees. What followed looked like a scene from a dystopian nightmare as hundreds of unmarked security forces wearing plain white shirts appeared out of nowhere and began treating the protesters with no mercy. Women, children, the elderly, people with disabilities, and pregnant women were all treated the same when protesting. One pregnant woman was even dragged by her hair and shoved onto a bus. When her stomach began to ache, she begged the men to take her to a hospital, but they refused, and all of this was done because these disobedient subjects wanted their money back. We make documentaries about these events. Rocket Money, formerly known as True Build, combines all of my favorite aspects of True Build with a modern aesthetic. Rocket Money is a fantastic all-in-one personal finance platform that has helped me and 3.4 million other members save almost $2 billion in accounting fees. One of the coolest features is the ability to cancel unwanted subscriptions with just one click. To use this feature, you simply need to safely connect your accounts. My other favorite feature of theirs is even better, where Rocket Money will actually negotiate down your bills for you. All you have to do is select the bill you want lowered, take a photo of the bill or enter the information manually, and Rocket Money will get busy negotiating your bill down for you. They have an 85% success rate, and if the negotiation is unsuccessful, you won't be charged. Village banks are small financial institutions that are intended to be used by farmers, village workers, and other people who don't need much more than a place to store their money. However, over time, village banks have gained popularity for a number of reasons, including their interest rates. For example, while the Bank of China only offers 2.75% a year in interest, most of these smaller banks offer nearly double that at around 4.5% a year. If your profile is green, you have not been exposed to anyone with COVID and are therefore safe to travel and work. However, if it is yellow or red, you have come into contact with someone who has COVID, so you will no longer be able to shop, use public transportation, or go to work. As with any government program, they claim that COVID contact tracing is for your safety, it's for the public good, of course nothing more, and we're not going to use it to. Chinese police frequently attend sensitive events in plain clothes, without markings or uniforms. For instance, at previous court appearances for foreign journalists and diplomats representing Chinese human rights lawyers, individuals wearing identical yellow smiley-faced badges occasionally shoved those gathered outside the courthouse. The Chinese government decided to use the same strategy, but this time it was turned up. A group of uniformed police officers first appeared, but they weren't alone. They were joined by a much larger group of unmarked men who were mostly wearing white tops. The strategy was straightforward. The uniformed police officer would intimidate and scare his enemies into silence without being able to prove that it was them. According to the investigators, Luigi and his team had been operating the scheme for more than a decade, and no one had ever discovered that. According to the government, Luigi was now a wanted man, and it would only be a matter of time before justice was served. But for the people who depend on their money to survive, life isn't looking all that optimistic, as it could take months or years for the government to identify who exactly was responsible for the missing money, and even then, it may not be possible to find out who was responsible. The CIA's Black Site program is a perfect example of how the American government is equally adept at concealing the things it does in the name of the greater good. For almost 10 years after 9/11, the CIA kidnapped hundreds of Arab suspects using what are referred to as enhanced interrogation techniques, wink wink, and these interrogation techniques. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new here, this is one of the biggest channels on YouTube for documentaries on money, power, war, and crime. If you like this one, please click the subscribe button below, because we make multiple videos just like this one every single week and you have nothing to lose. You can also follow us on Instagram. We haven't seen bank runs in America since, like the 1920s. So it's really fascinating to see them happen in the 21st century.